Aloha. Wanted to make a quick video in reference of the moon, the sun, and eclipses, and in relation to flat Earth, and all kinds of other stuff that's going on. I just wanted to start talking about it and see what kind of comes out. But my main focus was this in Vedic traditions, known as the energy, the body in the sky that creates eclipses, according to Vedic tradition, known as Rahu. And when I started to look at like moonlight, the light that comes from the moon that is colder than the shade, the moon shade, then I started to ask questions like, what is that light? Like, what's going on with that light? And because I can understand the sun, we hear stories of the sun all the time. Like the sun is easy to understand in a sense. Like it creates the light for us to experience our waking state during the day. It creates warmth so we're not cold. It creates life so we can sustain our bodies. It has this relationship with all life on the planet. And it's on the flat Earth model. It's the same size of the moon, and in old Hopi traditions, the moon actually came before the sun, and then the sun was created, and then we had both the sun and the moon in the sky, and the sun created all this what we're experiencing today. So I'm just sharing stories right now as far as like the research, the information that I've come across. So you can go into it in yourselves however far, but I wanted to share my theory on what I've come across just to get it out there so people can do with it, however you see it. Anyway, so Rahu has been my main focus in relation to time, and even thinking about like the Mandela effect and how we are moving into another space of experiencing our reality, and things are starting to shift within our physical reality, and we're starting to see these shifts in little micro shifts here and there. And as we unveil the bullshit that has been piled on top of our consciousness, we're starting to also unveil our potentialities within this experience. So that's how I'm seeing the Mandela effect. One part of this unveiling is dropping fear, at least the majorities of fear, because the old system is based upon fear to limit our vibrations, limit our experience. So we're dropping the good majorities of fear by understanding information instead of just living in ignorance and letting it control our reality. So this invisible body in the sky that creates these eclipses on the flat Earth model and in Vedic tradition has been my focus, and is my focus for this video. And I'll share in a second like what I'm seeing it is. So I was seeing the sun, everything has a relationship to time. The sun goes around and creates our days, and the moon has a relationship with the cycles of the feminine design. It has a relationship with the tides. These are all have a time to it. We can all tell the time in a certain way. And then you have Rahu, who also is a part of time, a clock. So all these are clocks. So you have a biological clock of the sun, biological clock of the moon, and then you have a biological clock on a more extended space of eclipses, because the eclipses also have like a time frame when they appear and don't appear. And Rahu is this invisible body that can only be seen if it is in front of the other light bodies that are circling around the top of us in the sky, the sun and the moon. So it's this invisible energy that can only be seen if it blocks the light that is already present in our reality. So this is where I was saying, as far as like the fear program goes, and how we've been separated from our experience and separated from time and separated from our maximum potential because we have been taught and trained to fear our experience through manipulation of Hollywood, the movies, the local news, the war, the jacked up definitions of human nature, all that bullshit that gets put our way as far as like what our reality is about. We get this this broken idea of who and what we are and what's all going on. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there as far as the cycles of time. And it's not just about the sun. It's not just about the moon. There's at least one other body that is also representing or in relationship with time that we understand in some in some references from the Vedic tradition, at least, Rahu and the eclipses. So where do the eclipses fit in the flat earth model? Where do the eclipses fit in with our human experience? Where in that clock, what does that clock represent? What does this invisible body, what does it mean in reference to like what the sun means to us and what the moon means to us? Because the sun provides this warm light, the moon provides this cold light. It actually takes energy away. It takes warmth away when you're in the light. When you're in the moon shade, it's actually warmer. So these things all exist in some kind of way, and knowing light is energy, we can understand you get energy from the sun. We can understand you can grow plants from the sun. So my other question was, what does moonlight do, and what does that have in reference to our whole reality? And then on beyond that, who or what is this invisible body floating in the sky known as Rahu, or the this object that creates these eclipses? So we can already see that it can only be seen when blocking out the light of the sun or the moon to create solar or lunar eclipses. When we see eclipses, we are told we have to wear these glasses. You're not supposed to look at it. It's supposed to don't look directly at it. Don't be afraid. Like there's this fear of looking at it. So I directly related that to the fear of fear. Like don't look it straight in the eye. Don't address it. Just run away from it. That is the mentality that actually keeps us from our dreams too. So when you constantly get a dream that is testing your reality, and it starts off in fear. This is why children have nightmares. Constantly testing your reality, then and you don't face it, then you won't go into that. You won't go into that experience anymore, and you eventually stop dreaming in order to anchor yourself in a waking state reality. So we are told by these individuals to be afraid on a regular basis. And how I was seeing it, my personal reference to what I'm feeling, who and what Rahu is. Well, before I go there, I'll read what it goes. This is from this website. It says, role of Rahu. I'll read it. All the planets which I discussed above have physical and visual existence, but Rahu and the Ketu have no physical shape. These are the imaginary points in the sky. But even then, Rahu is considered most powerful and has been allotted the status of a planet by our rishis and seers. Mostly, Rahu confers a malefic effect. He is considered a dirty planet, indicating laziness, filthiness, delays, and hurdles. He stays for 18 months in the zodiac sign. In Hindu mythology, there is an interesting fiction that describes how Rahu and Ketu came into existence. Once both the gods and demons agreed to form an alliance to produce nectar that could give them immortality. Nectar was to be attained by churning the ocean. In the process, that's better. In the process, nectar was churned out. When the nectar was being served to the gods, a demon disguised as a god, and sat between the sun and the moon in an attempt to acquire the nectar. The demon was recognized by the sun and the moon, who complained of the demon to Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu immediately severed his head from his chakra. But the demon had already consumed enough nectar to make him immortal. The head of the demon, known as Rahu, became immortal, and the remaining corpse of the demon was known as Ketu. Ever since, Rahu and Ketu became the strong enemy of the sun and the moon. Sun and moon eclipses occur due to Rahu and Ketu, who swallow up sun and moon when they come near to them. In this way, Rahu and Ketu take their revenge from the sun and the moon. In Vedic astrology, Rahu and Ketu are known as the invisible planets, and they are strong enemies of the sun and the moon. Rahu and Ketu are actually the astronomical points in the sky, respectively called the north and south lunar nodes. Okay. The places of intersection where the moon's path meets the sun's path is known as north lunar node and south lunar node, respectively. Thus, the relation of Rahu and Ketu with the sun and the moon has been described through the language of symbol in Hindu mythology. So Rahu is a powerful and malefic planet. This is a favorable planet of the politicians. He gives them great opportunity and power to rise in politics through any means of fair or unfair. He also rules over thieves and jail. So so he also rules over thieves, jails, magicians, snakes, poison, and isolated places. Rahu is also the power to confer sudden wealth. So this is how it's seeing. Don't look at it. Don't look at the man behind the veil. It's like, don't look at this invisible entity that is part of this program that we are understanding as the human experience. But in order for this power which is power that's understood as a god, I'm just going to run with this as being one step to understanding how this fits, and relating to the so-called powers that be, because we have the understanding of the power of the sun, we have an understanding of the feminine energy of the power of the moon. We can see this in our experience, in our own makeup of masculine and feminine energy, and we can see that in the balances of the yin yang. And seeing that as reference to the north and southern lunar nodes, how I was seeing it is that we have this balance of yin and yang, the sun and the moon, the masculine and feminine, the magnetic and electric energies that exist within this point of experience we're calling the human design and the earth plane experience. And within that experience, we hear a lot about the duality program, and it's easy to see things that are reference to the sun and the moon, but the thing that doesn't get spoken on is chaos. And how I'm seeing this is that Rahu is this chaotic energy that is existing in between the sun and the moon, in order to allow a relationship to happen between the sun and the moon. And it's not anything to be worshipped in a sense, but it is something to be recognized as existing as part of this reality that adds to our free will experience, adds to the experience as a whole. Like in the Vedic astrology, it references it gives the great opportunity, or it rules over the thieves, jail, magicians, snake, poison, and isolated places, etc. So it has some kind of purpose and meaning that we are meant to fear automatically instead of understanding its place in this reality. So the old school traditions understand where this fits, but there's a difference in energy and experience when you are taught to understand something and recognize it, then taught and conditioned to fear something and be ignorant of it. So we've been completely ignorant of this this body, this energy that is part of a clock that we don't really understand on a regular basis, because we have been taught, well, this is a globe model, this is that, don't look at it, this is fear. It doesn't want to be looked at because it will be revealed for what it really is, and then that power will go back to the sun and the moon. So how I'm seeing what Rahu is this out of balance, focused energy, which is told not to look at it, but actually is being worshipped in the undertones of our reality, because it is that energy that comes between the sun and the moon. And if you can see this dot right here, I was seeing Rahu as having this sort of, this is where the eclipse come in as far as where Rahu fits in this time frame. So as these are going, the sun is going around like this, or the moon's going around like this, and the sun's going around like this in different time frames. They all have their different time frames. As these are going like this and these are going like this, the eclipse is hit when they get in front of our, however it fits. Somebody who does models like that can come up if this is all onto something. But I was seeing as the Rahu, the invisible planet, as part of a biological clock of some sort, is actually if all of this is like part of our experience, this and this and this, the sun and the moon and this, what is this line right here? What is this energy, and what is it if it goes all the way out to actually circle this energy too? But definitely this line is feeling like that division, that actual in-between space is what Rahu is representing. And without this line, you can't really have the understanding or the balances of the sun and the moon. So it's not as simple as just the sun and the moon energy, masculine and feminine energy. It's the relationship that is between the two energies, and that relationship that it has with the earth plane experience and the human experience as a whole. So if we are reflections of the sun and the moon, then we are also a reflection of what the relationship is, the relationship the sun and moon has with each other and the earth plane itself. And that involves some kind of object in the sky we know in at least one tradition, the Vedic tradition, as Rahu. And that energy is what I just read here. So I'm seeing it as this energy has been manipulated to be a focus without focus, with ignorance, actually. A subconscious energy hoarder, and it's being referenced as this malefic planet. So that was pretty much it. Yeah, and the extremes of in order of separation. So this is just, it's the worship of separation. So the further we become separated from nature and our understanding of the earth plane experience, the human design as a whole, the more we become separated from that reality, the less we understand and look at who Rahu is, what that energy is, and what it's trying to maintain as far as our ignorance. And like I said, it's not necessarily this energy, but how this energy is being used to sell an agenda, and how I'm seeing this agenda is based upon like the transhumanism agenda, which is a further separation of our natural design locked into an artificial intelligence, which could be seen as an invisible entity, an invisible intelligence that is not of the Most High. It's not of the creative intelligence, but is more of a destructive intelligence, and a something that slides into the experience as a whole in order to look like it's in charge. Like they say in here, it's these Rahu over is the overseer, like the politicians. Politicians go into this, and magic. So it's this off magic that is being manipulated to be the only magic in your reality, which is not true. So that's basically it. Yeah, anybody who has any other information on this, or like, please share or comment, or do what you do. And also I wanted to thank all the subscribers and the new subscribers for your support and everything. I appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and keep putting out videos whenever they come up. So, yeah, thank you. And until next time, from all my relations, peace, love, and harmony.